you go back through obviously those Super Bowl years, and that's kind of what instantly sticks out to those that maybe aren't Bills fans, right? That they
Sure.
always glob onto the Jim Kelly, the Super Bowl runs, always the bridesmaid, never the bride. When you're now looking back on those teams with 30 years of kind of experience here, what's your perception of them? Has it changed at all? Like at the time, did you think these guys are world beaters and they're just the unluckiest team in the world? And now that you look at it, it's maybe they kind of overachieved a little bit, or has that kind of stayed the same even with the test of time 30 plus years later?
I think two things come to mind. That's an interesting question. And the first would be that the Bills only should have won the first game of the four Super Bowls.
Mm-hmm.
I think they got out coached by Belichick and Parcells and that crowd. And I think the time of possession was about 40-20, if not more one sided that came. And they just kept the Bills offense off the field. And the Bills were tearing down the league. They beat the Raiders 51-3 the week before. And Parcells and Belichick did a great job of coaching it. The other three games, Washington, Dallas. Washington had a heck of a team that year. They obliterated everybody, and Dallas, of course, and just starting up that dynasty with Johnson and the triplets Aikman, Smith, and Michael Irvin, and
Right.
those were great teams. And the Bills really peaked in 1990 for the 91 Super Bowl. So I can't really fault them. What I think we realized maybe after the fourth one was playing in four straight Super Bowls is hard because you lose one, and I don't think people realize how devastating that is to get that close and lose. And you always look at the records over the years, and not too many teams have come back from one loss and showed up the next year.
Mm-hmm.
And the Bills lost three in a row, and they were still resilient enough to come back and make it to the fourth one. And of course, as we know, lost that one. But I'm not sure that's ever going to be duplicated. That was just a remarkable achievement. You have to give all the credit in the world for those guys for just saying, okay, here we go again. Now, if the Bills won the first one, most of the people I've talked to said they're going to enjoy it and they'll never get back again to the next few years. But since they lost, that was a special enough crew to come back and come back and come back. And you keep pounding your head on against the wall. It just didn't work out.
Yeah. Well, that's just it, right? It's a double-edged sword there in the sense of, all right, they win the one and maybe it's partying well into the off
Yeah.
season and they
Indeed.
lay an egg the next year. And
Yeah.
you look at even just the parity around the league nowadays, especially with salary cap and the free agency contracts and whatnot. Like as you said, I don't know if in our lifetime we'll ever see whether they win or lose someone get there four times in a row. It's a full Olympic cycle of Super Bowl appearances.
Yes. Yeah, I hadn't thought of it that way, but and I think what Marv Levy did may be underrated. He is in the Hall of Fame, and he didn't have that long a career, a successful career, but he was the coach of that team, and maybe is the best advertisement. I don't know how many coaches could have gotten that out of him, but because the Bills had kind of a high spirited group, shall we say, and Marv kept them focused, and I think if a disciplinarian had come in, it wouldn't have worked so well. But Marv knew what to say and got them prepared and didn't work them too hard. They had pretty easy training camps, and they always came out in September ready to play. And their record in September was always was great. They must have played 750, 800 ball during the first month of the season under Marv, and they won a lot of divisions that way, and they got home games in the playoffs that way, and that was a pretty good formula for success. It just wasn't good enough for the ultimate success.